We've all seen some pretty convoluted family trees in anime. You've got the Joestars with their weird secret marriages, the Uchihas whose family reunions are just a series of fatal stabbings, and then there's the Greyrat family from Mushoku Tensei. This isn't just a family tree, guys. It's a botanical anomaly. It's a temporal, cross-species, multiple timeline puzzle where your grandmother-in-law is also your best friend's wife, and your son... well, we'll get to the Aisha and Aras situation later. So, let's get into the history of the Great Greyrat dynasty. To understand Rudeus, we have to understand where the Greyrat name actually comes from. It's not just some random surname Paul picked out because it sounded cool. The Greyrats are one of the 4 prestigious, high-ranking noble houses of the Asura kingdom. Specifically, the lineage is split into 4 branches: Boreas, Notos, Euros, and Zephyrus. Think of them like the Hogwarts houses, except instead of points, they compete in political corruption and bedroom athletics. Our story starts with Paul Greyrat. Paul was born into the high and mighty Notos branch. By all accounts, Paul was a prodigy with a sword, but he possessed the emotional maturity of a wet sponge and a sex drive that could outmatch a rabbit on caffeine. After a massive fallout with his father, Paul essentially threw his noble status in the trash, became an adventurer, and founded the Fangs of the Black Wolf Party. And that's where he met Zenith Latreia. Now, Zenith wasn't an Asuran noble. She was the rebellious second daughter of an earl from the holy, ultra-conservative country of Milis. She also ran away from home to avoid an arranged marriage. When she met Paul, it was love at first sight. Or rather, love at first, he's a disaster, I can fix him. They retired from adventuring, settled down in the peaceful Buena village, and soon enough, our reincarnated Japanese NEET opened his eyes in the body of baby Rudeus. But wait, the household dynamic wasn't chaotic enough yet. Enter Lilia, the family maid. Lilia had a history with Paul from his wild adventurer days. One thing led to another, mostly driven by Paul's complete lack of self-control while Zenith was pregnant, and Lilia ended up pregnant too. This is the moment where most anime families would fracture, but thanks to a very young Rudeus playing 4D chess and manipulating the situation to save Lilia from being thrown out, they formed a bizarrely functional, polyamorous household. Zenith gave birth to Norn Greyrat, a sensitive and stubborn girl, while Lilia gave birth to Aisha Greyrat, a literal genius who inherited her mother's maid skills but got a massive boost in the brain department. So, before Rudeus even learned how to use fire magic without chanting, he already had a stepmother, a full sister, and a half-sister. And believe me, this is the most normal part of the tree.
As Rudeus grew up, survived the devastating Fatoa teleportation incident, and literally traversed the world, he eventually established his own household in the Sharia region. And this is where he constructed what he literally refers to as his personal religion, the worship of the 3 goddesses. Let's introduce the wives in the exact chronological order they joined the Greyrat harem. Wife number 1, Sylphiette, the goddess of love. First up, we have Sylphiette, the green-haired elf-human beast race hybrid who later got the white hair upgrade after pushing her mana to the limit during a freefall from the sky. Sylphie is the ultimate childhood friend who actually won. She is sweet, fiercely loyal, and incredibly supportive. But here is the family tree mindbender. Sylphie's grandmother is a linealized dragon road. Yes, the curse-addicted, hyperactive elf adventurer who traveled with Paul and later became Rudeus's close ally is literally his grandmother-in-law. Sylphie represents the emotional anchor of the home, keeping everyone sane while raising a small army of children. Wife number 2, Roxy Migurdia, the goddess of wisdom. The blue-haired, long-lived Migurd mage who was Rudeus's childhood tutor and his literal savior from agoraphobia. Rudeus literally keeps a piece of her underwear as a sacred relic in a shrine, which, honestly, is the most Rudy thing ever. After a tragic and emotionally exhausting rescue mission in the Teleport Labyrinth, where Paul sadly lost his life, Rudeus was in a state of complete, soul-crushing depression. Roxy was the one who comforted him, leading to their marriage. While Sylphie was initially hesitant, she welcomed Roxy with open arms because, let's face it, everyone loves Roxy. Roxy brings a calm, academic, and slightly clumsy energy to the household, balancing out the sheer chaos of the third wife. Wife number 3, Eris Boreas Greyrat, the goddess of war. The red-haired, sword-wielding hurricane of pure violence. Eris is technically Rudeus's second cousin once removed, hailing from the Boreas branch of the family. She's the one who spent years training in the Land of Swords just so she could be strong enough to stand by his side and punch anyone who threatened him, including the dragon god Orsted himself. When Eris returned, she didn't just join the marriage, she basically kicked the door open and declared herself the husband's shield. Eris is the physical powerhouse of the family. The children refer to their mothers by their hair colors. white hair mama Sylphiette, blue hair mama Roxy, and red hair mommy Eris.
Now, let's talk about the next generation. Rudeus and his 3 wives had 6 children in total, alternating in a surprisingly neat sequence. Let's break down each child, their parentage, and what makes them unique. Kid number 1, Lucy Greyrat. The firstborn of the next generation is Lucy Greyrat. She inherits Rudeus' blonde-tinted hair and his hard-working attitude. Because Rudeus was constantly busy saving the world and working under Orsted, Lucy initially felt distant from her father, fearing she wasn't living up to his legendary status. However, they eventually reconcile in a heartwarming way. Lucy grows up to be highly capable, marries Clive Grimoire, and gives birth to Rudeus' grandson, Roland Grimoire. And here is where the family tree loops again. Clive is the son of Cliff Grimoire and Elinalize, which means Lucy married her grandmother's son from a different relationship. Yes, she married her step-uncle. Don't think about it too hard or your brain will short-circuit. Kid number 2, Lara Greyrat. She is the blue-haired, mischievous daughter of Roxy. Unlike her studious mother, Lara is a natural-born prankster who communicates telepathically with the family's sacred beast pet, Leo. But don't let her lazy, chaotic demeanor fool you. Lara is actually the subject of a massive prophecy. She is destined to be the savior who plays a crucial role in the ultimate battle against the primary antagonist, Hidogami, the man-god. She eventually leaves home on a grand journey, carrying the hopes of the entire world on her shoulders. Kid number 3, Eris Greyrat, the firstborn son. Eris inherits Eris's fiery red hair and a decent physical aptitude, but sadly, he also inherits the Greyrat gene of being incredibly driven by his hormones. Eris is the center of the single most controversial, deleted but still canon side story in Mushoku Tensei history. As a teenager, Eris falls in love with his aunt, Aisha Greyrat. Yes, his father's half-sister. Aisha, who basically raised him and is significantly older. When Rudeus finds out, he goes absolutely ballistic. They eventually run away, but are later allowed back into the family after some intense drama. They have a son named Leroy Greyrat. Fourth is Sieghart Saladin Greyrat, the second son. Sieg is born with green hair, just like Sylphie's original color, but due to his Laplace factor, his hair eventually shifts. Sieg is an absolute bro. He loves justice, has an existential crisis about what it means to be a hero, and eventually leaves to find his own path. He ends up becoming the 5th great world power, inheriting the title of Death God after some incredible adventures. He is easily one of the coolest characters in the epilogue stories. Kid number 5, Lilia Greyrat, another blue-haired daughter of Roxy. While her sister Lara is destined to save the world, Lily is content being a massive nerd. She is obsessed with magical items, technology, and research. She eventually joins the magic item workshop founded by Rudeus and Zenoba, dedicating her life to creating crazy magical inventions. Kid number 6, Christina Greyrat. Unlike her mother Eris, who would rather punch a king than talk to one, Christina is polite, ladylike, and incredibly skilled at social navigation. She attends the Asura Royal Academy, falls in love with Edward, the son of Queen Ariel Asura, and eventually marries into the royal family. This officially cements the Greyrat's influence at the absolute peak of the Asura Kingdom's royalty. Now that we've met everyone, let's zoom out and look at the absolute web of madness that this family tree becomes by the end of the story. First, we have the Norn and Rudyard situation. Rudyard Superdia, the legendary, centuries-old demon warrior who basically acted as Rudeus' adoptive big brother and protector, ends up marrying Norn, Rudeus' younger sister. Yes, the stoic, superb warrior who spent hundreds of years feared as a monster marries the quiet, hard-working Norn. They have a daughter named Luisilia Superdia. This means Rudyard is technically Rudeus' brother-in-law, and his niece is half superb. Then we have the Elinalize loop. Elinalize is Sylphie's grandmother. Cliff Grimoire is Rudeus' close friend. Cliff marries Elinalize, making Cliff, who is younger than Elinalize, Rudeus' grandfather-in-law. And then, their son Clive marries Lucy, Rudeus' daughter, making Cliff and Elinalize both the grandparents of Lucy's child, Roland. And let's not forget the Aisha Ars situation. Their son, Leroy, is both Rudeus' grandson and his half-nephew. If you tried to explain this to a normal genealogist, they would throw their notepad in the trash and run away screaming. And his daughter Christina married Edward Anamoy Asura, the son of Luke Notos Greyrat and Queen Ariel. He is also her third cousin. At the end of the day, despite how incredibly chaotic, confusing, and sometimes flat-out bizarre this family tree is, it is also one of the most beautiful aspects of Mushoku Tensei. Remember, Rudeus started his life as a nameless, middle-aged man who died alone in a dark room, rejected by his own family. When Rudeus passes away peacefully at the age of 70, surrounded by his loving wives, children, and dozens of descendants, they are a family of heroes, scholars, kings, and adventurers. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below.